Back to Samuel, this time 2 Samuel. This is years later, brothers and sisters. This is probably at least a good 500-600 years later. Second Samuel 21. Because Israel had judges for about 400 years. Then they started having kings. And Joshua was right before the judges. And David was the second king here. 2 Samuel 21 and 1. 2 Samuel 21 and 1. Go ahead.
And there was a famine in the days of David 3 years.
Okay, back to David. And it's some more drama befalling David. Look around, there's famine in the land. Now, David, knowing, being a man of God, he know ain't nothing happening unless God allow it. So it's famine. And once it get to going on so long, he said, wait a minute. God is trying to get somebody's attention here. Famine going on 3 years. Go ahead.
Year after year.
Uh-huh.
And David inquired of the Lord.
See, David was smart. He went to seek the Lord. We're going to put it to the Lord. We're going to find out what's going on here. It's just like sometimes you be thinking stuff might last a little while, and then it go away and it just keep on going. Then, yeah, you know you need to seek the Lord. When we was we had bought this place right here, this building that we in. We was in a storefront, and I figured it wasn't going to be that much trouble. We're going to start working on it and fix it up. But then it went on. We had problems with the city trying to stop us. It went on month after month. Finally, it was about 7-8 months. They was telling us, y'all can't use that place. I was like, okay, we're going to do some praying and fasting because this is going on too long. And finally, we got to a resolution. Well, David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord said what? Verse 1.
It is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites.
See, the Lord answered David. What was it? It was a famine, right? 3 years, year after year. And David inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered, it is for Saul and for his bloody house, because he slew who?
The Gibeonites.
The Gibeonites. You know who this was? This them same people 500-600 years later from when Israel messed up. They made a mistake. They didn't seek the Lord, but they needed to live with that. Now, Saul took it upon himself. He was doing all kind of erratic stuff. He going to start killing them. He started killing the Gibeonites. Verse 2.
And the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, now Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites.
See, and we see how they got to be among the children of Israel. We saw that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put on that old stuff and went around the corner and lied and said they was from the other side of the world. But once Israel made a covenant with them, they couldn't touch them. Even all the way down to Saul, they wasn't supposed to touch them because you done made an agreement. The Lord going to make you stick with agreements, brothers. That's why I tell people to get married all the time. People get married. Oh, I can't take it no more. I don't want to be with him. Or I don't want to be with her. I hear that all the time. You know what I say? Too bad. You made a covenant. You should have thought about that in the first place. The Lord don't play that. You know, like they just say, the Lord don't play that, homie. He don't play that. You done made an agreement. You better stick to it. I tell men and women that. Well, that's what went on here. They had made that agreement generations ago. Now Saul had dealt with him. And Saul dead, but the repercussions is still coming. The Lord brought a famine. The Lord is addressing it. So David, he said, look, we got to appease this. So he called these people, the Gibeonites, and said unto them, and then said, not the Gibeonites, but not of the children of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites. And we saw how they got there. And the children of Israel had what?
Had sworn unto them. And Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah.
See, the children of Israel that sworn unto them back in Joshua days, what we just read in Joshua 9. That's when they swore to him. And that was still good. Verse 3.
Wherefore David said unto the Gibeonites, what shall I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
And wherewith shall I make the atonement, that ye may bless the inheritance of the Lord.
See, David said, look, y'all, what y'all want me to do now? Tell me, because we got to solve this. Verse 4.
And the Gibeonites said unto him, we will have no silver nor gold of Saul, nor of his house. Neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. And he said, what ye shall say, that will I do for you. And they answered the king, the man that consumed us, and that devised against us that we should be destroyed from remaining in any of the coast of Israel, let 7 of his sons be delivered unto us.
Let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us. Go ahead.
And we will hang them up unto the Lord in Gibeah of Saul, whom the Lord did choose. And the king said, I will give them.
See, that's what they wanted. They said, well, the man who did it to us, who was it? It was Saul. He said, we want 7 of his sons or descendants. It didn't matter, as long as it came from him some kind of way. We want 7 of his, and that's all we want. We appease this, hang. This is something else. Some people getting ready to die for this. That shows you even Saul wasn't thinking. He evidently thought it was right to do what he was doing to the Gibeonites. He knew the history. But he said, I could do it. They don't need to be here anyway. Israel should have killed them back then. No, they shouldn't. And you shouldn't. Now you in trouble. You got Israel in trouble. So it might have seemed right what he did. Just like it seemed right for Joshua and them to make that agreement with him. And it was wrong. But once you did it, it was a wrap. So now 7 men got to die. Verse 7.
But the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul.
See, that was Jonathan's son, which was Saul's grandson, Mephibosheth. He spared him because he already had an agreement with Jonathan. See, he said, well, I got to honor my agreement with Jonathan, so I can't give this. I'm going to put him on the side. I'm going to find 7 more besides him. Here, you stay over here. Matter of fact, he had Mephibosheth eating at his table. He had him eating at his table because he honored the oath that he had with Jonathan. They had made a covenant. So he wasn't going to give him up. See, they be looking at everything. They're going to cover every base when you know the Lord. See, he might have said, well, I can just go, it don't matter. Nah, I got something else. I got to deal with this over here. He can't go. Hide him over there. He ain't going out. So the king spared Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, son of Saul. Why anyway?
Because of the oath, because of the Lord's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul.
See, because of the Lord's oath. The Lord's oath. Jonathan and David made an oath, and they made it before the Lord. And he said, because of the Lord's oath that was between them, between David and Jonathan, the son of Saul. So he ain't going to let him die. So he found 7 more descendants of Saul, and he gave them to him, and they hung him. But that go to show you going all the way back to Joshua time, it seemed right what they did, and they messed up. Then later on, it was supposed to be lived with, and Saul went against it. Now, go to Acts the 16th chapter. Go to the New Testament now. Because you might say, well, what this got to do with us nowadays? You know, we different. We ain't got to worry about it. We just kind of willy-nilly. Now, throughout all times, you need to make sure whatever you call yourself doing, that you do your due diligence with the Lord. Because it might seem right. Just like I said earlier, when we got ready to start this congregation in Gary in 1996, hey, that's exactly what I did. I said, well, we're going to pray and fast. Brother got mad. Why you got to pray and fast? You know, the Lord said go preach the gospel. I said, he ain't tell me to go do it. I ain't hear nothing in my ear say go preach it. And how I know he want me to preach it in Gary, Indiana? Maybe that's Satan put that thought in my mind. So I said, I'm going to do it. And I'm the one had the idea. So, hey, either you're going to go along with it or go ahead. And if I pray and fast and then I cast lots, I put it in the hat and it come out no, then I ain't going to go do nothing. Because I'm going to trust in the Lord. I want to make sure this is what the Lord want me to do. I ain't doing it for me. I want to make sure this is what and every congregation that we open, that's what we done. You know, somebody said, well, you ain't got to do. Well, maybe not, but I don't see nothing wrong with it. I know other people might don't do it. I know Brother Daniel at the house of Jacob, when he got ready to lead the Israel of God, he did it too. Because I did it with him. I prayed and fasted. I was already over here preaching. And he said, yeah, I think it might be time for me to lead. And we prayed and fasted and cast lot, put it in there. It came out yes for him to lead. And he tried not to lead. He actually pulled a Jonah. He was like, I don't know. I said, well, you see what happened? And he set it out. But that go to show you, brother, says you ain't got to rush into nothing with the Lord. Because if the Lord wants you to do something, you can't help but do it. I seen literally the Lord pick him up and move him to do it anyway. I seen it happen. He definitely was trying to go back a little bit. But we had already sought the Lord, and the Lord said, yes, I knew it was a done deal. So, if you're trying to do something for the Lord, then why not put it to the test? Acts 16. Here's an example, brothers and sisters, on even Paul. Just like David, you got example with David. Every time David got ready to make a move for the Lord, Lord, should I do it? Should I? You know, that don't mean you can't get out the bed without asking the Lord, Lord, should I get out of bed? No, we talking about when you trying to do some great work for the Lord. Acts 16. And we're going to pick it up at verse 3. Go ahead.
Him would Paul have to go forth with him, and took and circumcised him because of the Jews which were in those quarters. For they knew all that his father was a Greek.
See, now this is Timothy. We just jumped into this. This is Timothy. Paul he going around preaching the word, and he going to take this brother with him who his mother was Israel, but his father was a Greek, which means he was a Greek, Timothy. So Paul is going to take Timothy with him. Notice Paul is taking Timothy. Timothy is not taking Paul nowhere, because Paul is a full-fledged Israelite. So he going to take Timothy, and so much so, he said, man, you got to get circumcised. I can't even mess around with you. You going to roll with the big dog. You got to be circumcised. And he circumcised them because they knew all that he was a Greek, and they was going to hold that against him, running with Paul. Go ahead, verse 4.
And as they went through the cities, they delivered them the decrees for to keep, that were ordained of the apostles and elders which were at Jerusalem.
See, they had got their instructions from the headquarters. They got their instructions. They was delivered to, now they dealing with these Gentiles that then came into the fold. Verse 5.
And so were the churches established in the faith and increased in number daily.
See, the churches were established in the faith. The faith that started with Israel. The faith that started at Jerusalem. The churches were established in the faith, and they kept increasing daily, it said. Increased in number daily. Verse 6.
Now when they had gone throughout Phrygia and the region of Galatia, and were forbidden of the Holy Ghost to preach the word in Asia. After they were come to Mysia.
Wait a minute. I know. See, people don't tell me, oh, you just do that. Like the brother tried to get me. He said, brother, the Lord said go preach the gospel. Why do you think you got to pray and fast and then even cast lots? I read this to him. I said, well, look, how we know the Lord wants to preach the word that way there. Just like David inquired of the Lord before he went to deal with the Philistine. Hey, the Lord, if it's the Lord's plan, then he will show you that it's his plan. If it's not, you could be leaning on your own understanding. You could be trying to do something for you to show something about you. That's what he's talking about in Romans 16. He talk about people that come along with some get off track, and they come along with some fast speeches, deceiving the hearts of the simple. One thing he said about them in Romans 16, he said they feed their own belly. See, it ain't about what they supposed to be doing for the Lord. It become about them. I ain't never want that to happen. Because if I'm doing something for the Lord, then that's what it should be about. So notice what he said. Read verse 6 one more time. Go ahead.
Now when they had gone throughout Phrygia and the region of Galatia, and were forbidden of the Holy Ghost to preach the word in Asia.
You mean the Holy Ghost forbid them to preach the word in a certain location? Why would such a thing be? Because the Lord is the one directing the show. The Lord know how and when and what need to be done. But if you don't take the time to seek the Lord, then you wouldn't know that. You just say, oh, I can just go do it. Just do it. That's why people come to me all the time, brothers. I can't count the brothers that then came to me thinking, because kind of like they went to David thinking David had something against Saul. When David didn't have nothing against Saul, David was working for the Lord. Well, people that came to me because I left the Israel of God, they think that's what I'm about. Yeah, they bogus over there. I said, man, that ain't why I left the Israel of God. You got the wrong idea. I left because the Lord sent me to preach the gospel. He verified that he wanted me to preach the gospel too. That's the reason I left. It didn't have nothing to do with no other situation at the Israel of God or nowhere else. But they think they come to me, brothers in Buffalo, brothers in Atlanta, brothers in Chicago. Come say, yeah, I think, they bogus. I'm going to go do something. What they got to do with you? Whatever going on over there got to do with you going to do something for you got the wrong idea already. And I tell them all the time, I said, man, you need to sit down. Years ago, I told some brothers that in Atlanta, I said, man, just stay there. Stay at the Israel of God and get the word. Don't run off and try to be preaching the gospel because you think something wrong there. That ain't a reason to preach the gospel. Notice, they were forbidden here to preach the gospel, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. To preach the word in Asia. Go ahead, verse 7.
After they were come to Mysia, they essayed to go into Bithynia, but the Spirit suffered them not.
See, now the Spirit suffered them not to go to this location. Go ahead.
And they passing by Mysia came down to Troy.
Uh-huh.
And a vision appeared to Paul in the night. There stood a man of Macedonia and prayed him, saying, come over into Macedonia and help us.
See, but now he got a vision about which way to go at this time. Now he got some direction. First, the Lord saying, well, don't go that way. It's just like we didn't cast lots on every location that we open up. We done prayed and fasted, sought the Lord, and asked the Lord, do you want us to do it? And everyone we open up, we did it because it came up yes. But it's been a number of times they said no. And it show you how the Lord see around the corner that you can't see. It be looking, it seemed right at the time to me. That's why we put it in the hat and we seek the Lord. Because it seemed like, oh yeah, this is a good idea. Yeah, we're going to go over here and preach the word. Then we said, well, yeah, but let's seek the Lord on it. And then we seek the Lord, it'd be like, nope, don't do it. And then 2, 3, 4 months later, you see some stuff that done unfolded. You say, oh, that's why the Lord didn't want us to go do it. That didn't happen more than once, brothers and sisters. But if you're just trying to do the Lord's will, then you can be patient and wait on the Lord. Because it ain't about you. You can be patient. So Paul was patient here. It said they was forbidden of the Holy Ghost to preach the word in Asia. Then it said they wanted to go in Bithynia, but the Spirit suffered them not, right? Mm-hmm. Then it said a vision appeared to Paul in the night. And there stood a man in Macedonia, prayed him, saying, now he had a vision, come over into Macedonia and help. Now he know which way the Lord wanted him to go. But he waited on the Lord. Go ahead.
And after he had seen the vision, immediately we endeavored to go into Macedonia, assuredly gathering that the Lord had called us forth to preach the gospel unto them.
Assuredly gathering. But if you seeking direction from the Lord, brother and sister, you will patiently wait on whatever it is, and then you can have some assurance. Because again, the title of the lesson, there's a way that seems right. Oh, it seems, oh, this got to be right. But the end thereof are the ways of death. Matthew 16. Matthew 16. Back up. Matthew 16. This is a situation. Jesus was letting disciples know We read this kind of often, and it's going to really be twofold. It's going to be twofold. We're going to point it out from two standpoints on what may seem right to one person, but it's not right for somebody else. Matthew 16 and verse 21, because it don't matter how good it seemed to you or how right it seemed to you. The only thing matters is what the Lord had got to say about it. 16 and 21, go ahead.
From that time forth began Jesus to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day.
See, now this was all over the Old Testament. It was written in a number of places that he had to be led to he had to be killed. He had to be a sin off. He had to be led to the slaughter like a lamb. So he letting his disciples know that he been running with them. He letting them know, look, this is getting ready to happen. We getting close now. Due day is almost here. I'm going to Jerusalem. I'm going to suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed and raised again the third day. Now he told them this, but this was like going in one end out the other. And in this case, it didn't seem right. And again, just like Uzzah in the beginning of the lesson, we read where Uzzah grabbed that ark to hold it. Good intentions. Well, Peter got the same type of good intentions, but it don't matter how it seems. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Go ahead, 22.
Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee.
See, Peter meant well, right? People say, well, the Lord know my heart. Now, Jesus was not going to say nothing to Peter because he mean well. He just don't think the good Lord need to go through all this trouble and let them people do that to him. Not the Lord. So that seemed like even if he wrong, it shouldn't be no big deal because the Lord know his heart. He had good intentions. He didn't think Jesus need to, he too good for that. He too good to go through all that. That's really what he's saying. So that seemed right to Peter, or it seemed wrong that Jesus would say he got to go through all that and really mean it. So he rebuked him. No, far be it from you, Lord. This shall not happen to you. This bad stuff shall not happen to you. See, that would seem like any of us, that'd be right up our alley. You talking about some bad stuff about to happen. No, that bad stuff, I ain't going to claim it. I ain't going to claim it for you. That bad stuff ain't going to happen to you. See, we might jump on the bandwagon. Knowing what the Lord then told us, then we could jump on the bandwagon and say, yeah, you're right. Why should I have to do that? You're right, I'm too good for that. Got to go through all that. But Jesus wasn't going to have it, brothers and sisters. He know it didn't matter how it seemed. It mattered how it is. Go ahead, 23.
But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offenser to me.
Now he turned, see, it seemed like a small thing. He called Peter the devil. He turned and looked at Peter in front of all the brethren. See, you hang around Jesus, you grow a little thick skin. Because he wasn't going to pull no punches with you. You be talking about, well, he embarrassed me. I can't talk to him no more. Look, you better grow up. Jesus turned around and said unto Peter, Get thee behind. You think that didn't bruise his little ego? You think that didn't hurt his pride? Hey, but guess what? He got over it, didn't he? Because you ain't got no choice. Either you going to roll with the Lord or you not. He turned around and looked at Peter and said in front of all the brothers, Get thee behind me, Satan. Why?
Thou art an offense unto me.
He said, you're an offense unto me. Go ahead.
For thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of me.
See, you focusing on the things not of God that be of men. And that's what it's easy for us to do in this world. Matter of fact, we've been to forget what God say about a particular thing and only listening to what men is saying. You save us not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. And it seemed right for you to do that at that time when you're doing it. But the end there are the ways of death. Even Peter got rebuked sharply for that. But now go to Matthew 26 now. Matthew 26. Now we're going to look at it from the other side, from Jesus' standpoint, because Jesus had to even approach that situation like that, because that wasn't something he just was in love with doing. Who want to be abused and beat up and then crucified by some people? That wasn't something he was just dying to do. Oh, I can't wait. Ooh, I can't wait till they nail me to that tree. I can't wait on that. No, he wasn't in love with that idea, but he knew that it didn't matter. That's why even here, he had to go against his own thoughts right here. 26 and 36. Matthew 26 and 36. But again, if you're trying to do the Lord's will, then you're going to seek the guidance from the Lord so you can get it right no matter how it seems or how you feel personally about it. 26 and 36. Go ahead.
Then cometh Jesus with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and said unto the disciples, Sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy.
See, he only took three of them, Peter, John, and James. That's the two sons of Zebedee, John and James. He took them three, and he went to really seek the Lord, because it said he was very sorrowful and very heavy. Go ahead.
Then said he unto them, My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me.
Go ahead.
And he went a little farther and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt.
See, now he asked them to pray with him because he's going through hard times, because he knows it's time now for him to do what he just told them in the 16th chapter, go do this suffering, get beat up, and then die. He knows it's time, and he ain't liking it either. He's not liking it. See, and if he can just go with his own mind and say, look, I was God in the beginning. I don't want to go through with this. Skip it. And he would have been okay. We would have been the ones in trouble. But he prayed and fell on his face and said, oh, my Father, if it be possible. He said, look, I know anything possible with God. Let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. Let it be your will. See, this is where we got to get to a point where, hey, we put our will secondary. Because our will get in the way of God's will. Even Jesus understood this. And he laid it on the line at the most dire situation. That's why I say even the harder things get, the Lord lets Satan make it hard for you to see if you're going to trust in the Lord with all your heart or lean on your own understanding. He's going to see if you're going to do that. So Jesus wasn't going to do it. But he made it clear what he wanted. He made it clear. He said, nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. Verse 40.
And he cometh unto the disciples and finds them asleep.
And
saith unto Peter, What? Could ye not watch with me 1 hour?
See, they weary. They done went to sleep. He said, y'all couldn't watch with me 1 hour. I'm going to tell you something. 41.
Watch and pray.
He said, you better watch and pray. You better stay on top of this. This is a battle for your life. This is a fight to the death, a fight to the finish. Watch and pray that what?
That ye enter not into temptation.
Oh, that you enter not into temptation. See, you're going to be tempted. You're going to be tried. But you don't have to fall victim to it. And the more you realize that, then the more you know you got to stay on top of it. Watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. Why?
The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak.
See, the spirit is willing. You can have a willing mind, but that other mind is telling you something else. The flesh is weak. You got a fleshly mind that if you let it, it will creep back up and take over. And it won't be about God's will no more. It'll be about your will. It'll be something that seems right and you just want to do it, then you would do it, then you got to suffer the consequences. But go ahead.
He went away again the second time and prayed, saying, "O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, that thy will be done."
See, now he didn't want to drink the cup. He said, look, but still, he knew that it might seem right for him not to want to drink the cup, but if it's not God's will, he don't want it. He don't want what his will is. He said, "Oh, my Father, if this cup may not pass away, except I drink it, thy will be done." He leaned on that. And he said it a third time. And he found out he got the answer because he sought the answer from the Lord. He didn't want it his way. He wanted it God's way. Just like Paul, when they went preaching the gospel, they didn't want to just do it for them. They wanted it God's way, whatever God wanted. So they sought the Lord and got direction from the Lord, where we found out they couldn't even preach the gospel in certain places at a certain time. Same thing with David. He didn't want to just do his will. He sought the Lord, and the Lord told him, yeah, go do it. Or no, don't go this time. So skip down to verse 46, because he found out what the Father's will was, and that it was indeed for him to drink that cup. Go ahead.
"Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that doth betray me."
See, he went back to the disciples. Now he girded up, ready to do the Father's will, not what a little while ago, a couple of hours ago, was seeming right to him. And that was maybe getting out of drinking this cup. Now he's ready to drink the cup because he sought the Lord and he found out that's exactly what the will was, for him to drink the cup, not to let it pass. Just like he told Peter and the apostles he had to drink, but even he had some second thoughts at the last moment. That shows you Satan don't never give up. He tried to get the master himself to fall off the wagon at the last moment. You think he ain't going to be after me and you? He was going after Jesus full-fledged and had him taking some second thought. Maybe we do it. Father, is there a plan B? The A option ain't looking too good right now. If it's possible, let's just do something different. But he always went back to what was most important. I want to do your will, not mine. 2 Chronicles 25. We almost done now. I can't believe I was going to try to do 2 lessons, this lesson and another one. I was going to shorten this one and do a second one. This one got to be so long, I said, no, that ain't going to work. We'll be here till midnight. Second Chronicles 25. Second Chronicles 25, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. See, the Lord will give you a chance, even once you done started down, if you done started down a road that seemed like the right way to go, the Lord will give you a chance to correct it. Just like in the beginning of the lesson, we saw David and Israel was taking the ark where the Lord wanted it to go. They was taking the ark, but they started down the wrong path. They was going the right way the Lord wanted them to go, but the way they went about it wasn't right. And a man died, but the Lord still gave him a chance to fix it later, but a man had died in the meantime, because there's a way to seem right, but the end thereof are the ways of death. 25:1, go ahead.
"And Amaziah was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jehoiadan of Jerusalem."
See, this one of David, King David's descendants, Amaziah. He's sitting on David's throne. He started when he was 25 years old. And David had most of his sons were halfway righteous. Some of them got bogus, but most of them were halfway righteous. And this guy was one of them, verse 2.
And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, but not with a perfect heart.
Oh, he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord for the most part, but he had some issues of his own. See, the Lord, he worked with every situation. He know how to deal with people. So he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, but he wasn't like David, because the Lord compared everybody to David, even though David had some blunders. But the Bible said David was a man after God's own heart. But this guy was doing good, except it said not with a perfect heart. That shows you the Lord is used to working with imperfection, isn't he? Mm-hmm. But go ahead.
Now it came to pass, when the kingdom was established to him, that he slew his servants that had killed the king, his father.
See, they had killed his father, Joash. They conspired against him and killed him. So then he killed the servants that killed his father. But he didn't kill nobody else. Go ahead.
But he slew not their children, but did as it is written in the law, in the book of Moses, where the Lord commanded, saying, the fathers shall not die for the children, neither shall the children die for the fathers, but every man shall die for his own sin.
See, he killed the ones that did it. He didn't do nothing to nobody else. Go ahead.
Moreover, Amaziah gathered Judah together and made them captives over thousands and captives over hundreds, according to the houses of their fathers, throughout all Judah and Benjamin. And he numbered them from 20 years old and above, and found 300,000 choice men able to go forth to war that could handle spear and shield. He hired also 100,000 mighty men of valor out of Israel for 100 talents of silver.
Okay, now this guy, and again, he operating where it said he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, but not with a perfect heart. So he going about things the way the Lord wanted him to go about it for the most part. But he dealing with Israel, with the two tribes, because they had split. He dealing with Judah and Benjamin. So the 10 tribes, even though they all Israel, they had got out of line and wasn't really serving the Lord no more. And that's where he made a mistake at verse 6. You know, they wasn't with him, but he was able to hire them. So he hired 100,000 mighty men, because he said, look, I'm getting ready to go to war. I'm going to deal with these people. I'm going to go to war with them. I'm going to have everybody, as many as I need. So not only do he got his own people together ready to go to war, which the Lord wanted him to do this. Now the Lord want him to go to war against these Edomites. But he hired 100,000 mighty men of valor out of Israel for 100 talents of silver. He done spent some money now. See, but obviously, brothers and sisters, that seemed like the right thing for him to do, right? He making moves. He a mover and a shaker. Look, we going to make this happen. We getting ready to do this. Y'all going to come work with me? Come on, I'll pay y'all. Come on. We finna deal with them. I'm going to pay y'all 100 talents of silver. Verse 7.
But there came a man of God to him, saying,
too bad the man of God didn't come first. I bet he said,
O king.
Because he just spent money, big money. Then there come a man of God. See, when you don't seek the Lord will let you go. Then the Lord will warn you and see how far you want to go with it. There came a man of God to him saying, what?
O king.
What?
Let not the army of Israel go with thee. For the Lord is not with Israel, to wit, with all the children of Ephraim.
See, now this man, he doing the right thing. He just didn't jump the gun too quick. Whenever you get rash and start moving real quick, brothers and sisters, you're going to make a mistake. I'm here to tell you. Because it ain't necessary when you could just calm down and seek the Lord. So he moved too fast. He already peeled off 100 talents of silver to hire this army to go with him. He figured, I can't lose now. Well, if the Lord ain't with you, it don't matter, do it? If you're not seeking the Lord first, then it don't matter in the final analysis. And so after he done it, the Lord will let you put your foot in your mouth. After he done it, there came a man of God to him, said, O king, let not the army of Israel go with thee, for the Lord is not with Israel, to wit, with all the children of Ephraim. Go ahead. What else the man of God say? Verse 8.
But if thou wilt go, do it.
He
Be
said, but if
strong-
you want to be stiff-necked, go ahead and do it. I tell you, you better gird up, though, because it ain't about what you think you can do or not do. If thou would do it, be strong for the battle. Why?
God shall make thee fall before the enemy.
You getting ready to lose. Just get ready. You want to go anyway? You better gird up because God going to make you fall before the enemy. Go ahead.
For God hath power to help and to cast down.
See, God is in control. God got power to help and to cast down. Quite naturally, what's the first thing come out this king's mouth? Now, he halfway righteous. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, except not with a perfect heart, because he ended up fumbling with some false gods later on. That's where he messed up at. Matter of fact, he going to fumble with the people, false gods, who he going to beat down. Like we saw David beat the Philistines down, got their gods and burned them. One of this guy was halfway crazy. He going to beat the Edomites down and get their gods and say, oh, they got some nice gods. I'm going to keep them. That was one of his downfalls. That's why I said not perfect, even though he served God halfway decent. Verse 9, read it again.
And Amaziah said to the man of God,
Uh-huh.
But what shall we do for the 100 talents which I given to the army of Israel?
See, that's the first thing you want to know when you to spend some money, right? Yeah, I understand. But what I'm going to do about that money I done spent? And you know I didn't spend 100. Like, I don't want to waste that. Yeah, you should have thought about that in the first place. You should have considered, you should have sought the Lord a little more carefully. And the Lord could have told you, gave you this answer before you didn't waste your money. Yeah, you didn't waste the money now. You didn't waste the time and money. You didn't even wasted their time because you didn't got them to come over here. They're going to be mad even though they got your money. You done wasted everybody's time and your money. What shall I do for the 100 talents which I given to the army of Israel? What the man of God say?
And the man of God answered, The Lord is able to give thee much more than this.
He said, man, you worried about that? The Lord can give you much more than that. You got to cut your losses. Sometimes that's what you have to do, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Then Amaziah separated them, to wit, the army that was come to him out of Ephraim, to go home again. Wherefore their anger was greatly kindled against Judah, and they returned home in great anger.
Oh, you know, they was upset. Now you done made them mad, but still, this man has some sense right here. You see, he backpedaled on when he got the message from the Lord. He said, hey, what I'm going to do? Y'all got to go home. Even though he know they going to be mad. He done got them out of bed for nothing. Even though they done got paid for nothing, but they don't care. You know Israel be mad over nothing. They didn't got a payday. They can just go home and they ain't even got to go to war. Oh, you brought me over here for nothing? Now you sending me back. Oh, I ain't good enough to go fight with you, huh? Well, that's what the man of God said. So everybody they upset now, right? And they did something to him later. But he did the right thing. He didn't have too much pride to say, look, I made a mistake. And he didn't care so much about that money he had spent already. He had more sense than it looked like because he said, look, y'all go back. Look like the Lord ain't going to work with me. Because he was going to lose if they went with him. Now he going to win. Go ahead.
And then Amaziah separated them. And Amaziah strengthened himself
Verse
and led
11.
forth his people
And
went to the valley of Salt and smote of the children of Seir 10,000.
See, that's the Edomite. He smote of the children of Seir 10,000. Then he got some more of them later. Go ahead, verse 12.
And other 10,000 left alive did the children of Judah carry away captive, and brought them unto the top of the rock, and cast them down from the top of the rock, that they all were broken in pieces.
So he won without that army. He didn't need that army. He didn't need that army. But he thought he needed it. It seemed right for him to hire them in the first place, but if he would have went with them, that would have been the end of him. But he was smart enough when he was told, said, look, y'all got to go back. 1 Kings 13. 1 Kings 13. See, that's why that scripture say a mouthful, where the text is from, there's a way that seemeth right unto a man. It seemed right. But the end thereof are the ways of death. When you get to the final analysis, it seemed right. It'll all look good. That's why they got an old saying, and that old saying is true. Hindsight is 20/20. But you can have some foresight 20/20 if you seeking the Lord. That don't mean you're going to get everything right. But if your main purpose is seeking the Lord, especially when you're doing some endeavors for him, then you could know what you're doing. 13:1. 1 Kings 13:1. Go ahead.
And behold, there came a man of God out of Judah by the word of the Lord unto Bethel. Mm-hmm. And Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. Mm-hmm. And he carried against the altar in the word of the Lord, and said, O altar, thus saith the Lord, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name. Upon thee shall he offer the priest of the high places that burn incense upon thee, and man's bones shall be burnt upon thee.
Now this man of God came to the northern kingdom. He came from the south, came to the northern kingdom, prophesied against what they was doing. Jeroboam was the king, and he came to prophesy against the way they was behaving, and told them in the future one of these southern kings going to come and burn men's bones on this altar, because this is some fake stuff y'all got going here. Go ahead.
And he gave a sign the same day, saying, this is the sign which the Lord hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of God, which had cried against the altar in Bethel, that he put forth his hand from the altar, saying, lay hold on him.
Now, of course, the king didn't like that, because it's saying that he out of order. What he doing is out of order, so he didn't like that. So he said, grab. This man come down here speaking against this. Grab him. Go ahead.
And his hand, which he had put forth against him, dried up, so that he could not pull it in again to him.
See, he wish he wouldn't did that. He pointed at the man, said, get him, and he couldn't even pull his hand back. His hand went limp. Go ahead.
The altar also was rent, and the ashes poured out from the altar.
See, he told the man of God, and gave him a sign. Jeroboam should have been smart enough to wait and see if the sign happened. Then he know what he messing with. Look, you messing with God. You can point your finger at the man in the middle of his prophecy. You ain't even gave it a chance to see the sign that he gave. If he'd have waited a few more minutes, he would have saw that altar rip. He would have been like, okay, I better not say nothing against this dude. But he didn't wait long enough. He didn't point at telling him again. Now his hand all withered, and then everything started ripped like he said. The altar rent, and the ash is poured out from the altar according to the sign which the man of God had given by the word of the Lord. You speaking against the word of the Lord, Jeroboam. Verse 6, he had enough sense. Once his hand withered, though, he knew it. Go ahead.
And the king answered and said unto the man of God, entreat now the face of the Lord thy God, and pray for me.
What else you gonna do?
That my hand may be restored me again. Mm-hmm. And the man of God besought the Lord, and the king's hands restored him again, and became as it was before.
Now it went back to like it was before. Now this man didn't exhibited some great power. He didn't came down here out of nowhere, prophesied against this altar. The king got mad. His hand withered up. And then he had to pray for the king. You know, the king got great respect for him now, especially since his hand is back to normal. He's like, man, can I treat you to something? Go ahead.
And the king said unto the man of God, come home with me and refresh thyself, and I will give thee a reward.
See, he tried to take him home with him now. I don't care what you said, whatever, man. Come on. Just go with me. I'm going to take care of you, man. I'm glad. He looking at his hand probably like, man, woo, I'm glad my arm okay. Oh, I ain't worried about what you said against that stupid altar. I ain't worried about that no more. Come on, I'm going to let you refresh yourself, and I'm going to give you a reward. Now, this man just exhibits some great power from God. Now, I go to show you, you could be working for God one minute, like Peter was with Jesus, then he turned around and said something that seemed right to him. Jesus called him Satan. Well, let's see what happened with this man of God. What did he say first to the king? Verse 8.
And the man of God said unto the king, If thou wilt give me half thine house, I will not go in with thee. Neither will I eat bread nor drink water in this place. For so it was charged me by the word of the Lord, saying, Eat no bread, drink no water, nor turn again by the same way that thou camest. So he went another way, and returned not by the way that he came to Bethel.
See? So now he knew what the word of the Lord had told him, brothers and sisters. And he told the king, man, you can give me half your house. I ain't going with you. And you know the king, he already halfway scared. He like, whatever, man. All right, see you later. I just tried to give you something. That's okay. If you don't want, he ain't going to say nothing against this man no more. So the king let him go. And the man, you know, he told him everything. Look, this is what the Lord said. I can't eat no bread. I can't drink no water. I can't even go back the way I came. It sounded like he really wasn't so happy with the way the Lord had told him. But go ahead. Verse 11.
Now there dwelt an old prophet in Bethel, and his sons came and told him all the works that the man of God had done that day in Bethel. The words which he had spoken unto the king, them they told also to their father.
See, they told their father all this stuff. Go ahead.
And their father said unto them, What way went he? For his sons had seen what way the man of God went, which came from Judah. And he said unto his sons, Saddle me the ass. So they saddled him the ass, and he rode thereon. And he went after the man of God, and found him sitting under an oak. And he said unto him, Art thou the man of God that came from Judah? And he said, I am.
See, now he done caught up with him. Go ahead.
Then he said unto him, Come home with me, and eat bread.
See, this is another test for this man of God. This man of God then did the work that he was sent to do so far, but now he's still getting tested. Now this old guy told him, Come home and eat bread with me. Go ahead.
And he said, I may not return with thee, nor go in with thee. Neither will I eat bread nor drink water with thee in this place. For it was said to me by the word of the Lord.
See, he had direct instructions from the Lord when he went on this mission. The Lord had gave him these instructions. The Lord gave him these. He knew exactly what he was supposed to do. Just like he told the king, he told this old man the same instructions. I can't go home and eat with you. For it was said to me by the word of the Lord. The Lord sent his word to me and told me this. Go ahead.
For it was said to me by the word of the Lord, Thou shalt eat no bread nor drink water there, nor turn again to the way to go by the way that thou camest. And he said unto him, I am a prophet also as thou art. And an angel spake unto me by the word of the Lord, saying, Bring him back with thee into thine house, that he may eat bread and drink water. But he lied unto him.
See, he was lying to him, just like them Gibeonites lied, right? So they shouldn't have lied, but if you know what the word of the Lord said to you, then you still ain't going to go for it. You ain't going to go for it. Even though it might look good and it might seem right. At the time, you know what the Lord said. It's just like when you get some understanding of the Bible, you know what the Lord said. Really, it don't matter what people think. It don't matter what the world say. The world say two men can get married. But you know what the word of God say. So it don't matter. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, that the word of the Lord
Verse 19. Read 19.
Okay. So he went back with them and did eat bread in his house and drank water.
So he did it. He went back with him. Now he knew what the word of the Lord told him. He got the message directly from God. But the man came and lied like the Gibeonites lied to Joshua and them, and they made a covenant. Now they had to live with that. Same thing. He went back, but he ain't going to be able to live with it because the Lord going to kill him. Because there's a way to seem right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways. Evidently, it seemed right for him to do this. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, as they sat at the table, that the word of the Lord came unto the prophet that brought him back. And he cried unto the man of God that came from Judah, saying, Thus saith the Lord, For as much as thou hast disobeyed the mouth of the Lord, and hast not kept the commandment which the Lord thy God commanded thee, but camest back and hast eaten bread and drunken water in the place of the which the Lord did say to thee, Eat no bread and drink no water, thy carcass shall not come unto the sepulchre of thy father.
See, now you ain't going to make it back to where your father's at. and where your father's been buried at. This was an old man. He probably was on his last mission. But he ain't going to make it back now. And the same one that lied to him to get him back there is the same one that blew on him and told him he was out of line. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after he had eaten bread and after he had drunk, that he saddled for him in the ass, to wit, for the prophet whom he had brought back.
Go ahead.
And when he was gone, a lion met him by the way and slew him.
See, when he left, a lion met this prophet who humbled the king of Israel. He humbled the king. The king had his hand withered, and he had to pray for the king, and the king had mad respect for this prophet. But then he still later on did something that might have seemed right for him to do it, and now he done got in trouble with the Lord. Isn't that something how the Lord do it? He left and was gone, and what happened? A lion met him in the street. By the way, go ahead.
And slew him.
And slew him. Killed this prophet that just prophesied, and everything that prophet said was true. That's why the Bible said, let God be true and every man a lie. Hey, I can leave here tonight and go jump off a cliff. That ain't going to change one word that I done said out this Bible. It ain't going to change it. Everything that prophet said was true. That didn't make it less true that he turned around and went against the Lord later. Still was true. But now he got himself in trouble because he did something that maybe seemed okay to him. He said he slew him, the lion slew him, and his carcass was cast in the way. Go ahead.
And the ass stood by it.
Uh-huh.
The lion also stood by the carcass.
See, the lion came, and remember, the man riding on the ass. Usually in them situations, the lion been and tore up everything, the ass and the man and everything, right? No, the lion specifically killed the man. That's all he killed. The ass still standing there, the lion standing there, and the man dead. Middle of the street. But that show you could be going the right way for the Lord, then all of a sudden you get led a different way and it seems right, but it's not. One more place, Acts 5. Acts 5. And this back to the New Testament. This is where we're going into that. Acts 5:1. There's a way that seemeth right. See, that's a big statement. Seem right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. 5:1. Go ahead.
But a certain man named Ananias, with Sapphira, his wife, sold a possession.
See, now, because people always say, you read that Old Testament. That Old Testament was harsh. It was mean. They got lions killing prophets in the street. Left the ass alone. Didn't kill nobody. That Old Testament was mean. I like the New Testament. We got Jesus. Ain't nobody getting killed. Look, you ain't read the New Testament, have you? Here's the New Testament. A man named Ananias and Sapphira, his wife, sold a possession, because that's what they was doing with the apostles. They was all making agreements. See, again, the Lord make you stand by your agreements, brother and sister. He make you stand by them. So they sold a possession. And then even if we're going to read it. Go ahead, verse 2.
And kept back part of the price, his wife also being privy to it, and brought a certain part and laid it at the apostles' feet.
See, everybody said, look, we're going to sell this and we're going to give you the money. We're going to give you the money. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to sell it. We're going to give you the money. Yeah, we're going to sell it. We're going to give you the money. So they said it. Yeah, we're going to sell it and give you the money. And then I guess along the line, they had some second thoughts. So they said, well, we don't need to give them all the money. So let's give them some of the money. So they changed their mind. So they kept back part of the price. And his wife knew it. They planned it together. Verse 3.
But Peter said, Ananias, why hath Satan filled thine heart to lie to the Holy Ghost, and to keep back part of the price of the land? See,
you thought you was playing with man. That's what people think they're dealing with. They dealing with man. No, you dealing with the Lord. If the Lord has showed you that he's dealing with his word through somebody, then that's who you're dealing with. So he said, why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Ghost and to keep back part of the price of the land? Verse 4.
Whiles it remained, was it not thine own?
He said, look, it was yours. I mean, you could really do what you want to do with it, but look, just be honest. Be upfront about it. At least. You call yourself going to do something for the Lord? This is supposed to be about the Lord? You going on a endeavor for the Lord and you not going to come clean and be honest about it? Go ahead.
And after it was sold, was it not thine own power?
He said, look, it was yours all along. He said, while it remained, it was yours. Even when it was sold, it was yours. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Why hast thou conceived this thing in thine heart? Thou hast not lied unto men, but unto God.
Uh-huh.
And Ananias, hearing these words, fell down and gave up the ghost. Mm-hmm. And great fear came on all them that heard these things.
Oh, they died in the New Testament too, didn't they? He died right there on the spot. Didn't even need no lying for him. He just dropped dead. See, but evidently it seemed right for this man to do it. It seemed right to him that he could do this and get away with it.